Fake Famous uncovers a world of fake followers, stage scenes, and likes for sale.
Sign me up!
I don't even feel like I want to. I feel like I deserve to. You know what I'm saying?
3, 2, 1!
More than any other occupation on earth, kids in America say they want to be famous influencers.
When they look at these influencers and they think, wow, this is an amazing life, but people don't realize.
Most of the time, it's not real.
Should we do some cucumbers?
I love it.
But is that number of how many followers you have actual fame? We want to do an experiment to see if we can take some random people and make them fake famous.
Let me tell you, it's so good. Joining us now, the writer, director, mastermind behind the Fake Famous social experiment, Nick Bilton. Nick, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, there's so much to talk about here, but I got to start with so many of these companies pay influencers and these folks because of the number of likes, the number of followers. And what you uncover in this documentary, that after all of these years of trying to purge bots and fake followers, it's still very prevalent.
Well, I don't think they actually are trying to purge all the fake bots and fake followers, because it is in the best interest of these companies to appear to have more engagement and more people on their platforms than are actually there. So a lot of the times they do a little purging of the bots on social media, especially sites like Instagram. But for the most part, there are literally hundreds and hundreds of millions of them on social media, pretending to be real people.
Which is fascinating, because in the case of the doc, you show these beautifully curated, deceptive photos of people looking like they're on private jets or pool-sided expensive hotels. They're not real. The followers, in some cases, are not real, but the brands are buying into it, and the people and the public.
Well, I think as far as the brands go, they're just throwing as much spaghetti against the wall as they possibly can and hoping something sticks. When you used to buy a magazine and you would pick it up, and there was an advertisement in there, the hope was that you would see it and you would interact with it. I think there's kind of this deception that digital advertising is different and you can track it and this, that, and the other. That's not necessarily the case, especially with social media influencing. As far as the people, I mean, the thing that we really tried to show in the film is that we now live in a society where those numbers account for more than anything else in society today. People want to be famous, and they want to be famous influencers.
And that's what you explore. It's not just to get money in the bank or to be paid to be an influencer. It's to be liked. It's to walk around the streets and have what Andy Warhol said, your 15 minutes be triple, double that with the click of a button. When we come back, a real estate assistant, an aspiring actress, and an artist, how Nick made them fake famous, and why at least one of them said they'd never do it again. After the break.
So what are we doing here? Why are we making pretend chocolates out of butter and filling up an old, dirty kiddie pool with roses?
It's gonna be great.
And why is Chris pretending he's working out at a private gym in Beverly Hills when he's really just in a warehouse downtown?
All right, y'all ready to get it?
How's it look?
So good.
Okay, cool.
We're simply doing what so many other influencers do. We're faking it.
Welcome back. We've been talking with director Nick Bilton of the new HBO documentary, Fake Famous. He studied the art of how to become internet famous and was the architect behind the accounts of 3 everyday people he turned into influencers: Chris Bailey, Dominic Druckmann, and Wiley Henner, and they all join us now. Welcome to the show. Nick, I want to start back with you because, you spent around $12,000 making our 3 guests who joined us fake famous. I've seen celebrities, millionaires accused of faking to be on private jets, faking elaborate, vacations. So these aren't people who are just trying to be famous. Folks who are already famous get hooked into this as well.
Well, look at the Kardashians. I mean, that is the epitome of fake, right? They faked their tax returns so that they could appear on the cover of Forbes as billionaires, even though they're not. They fake photo shoots, they fake everything. I mean, this is just the society we live in today as a result of social media and those numbers.
Well, because I'm a journalist and one for 30 years, I have no proof that they fake their tax returns. I would have to take that up with the IRS. But to your point, Khloe Kardashian was in the news just recently when a photo, Nick, that she described as unflattering to her and unfair she felt to her was taken down because, as many noted, it seemed to be brand damaging, although she, in fairness again to her, Nick said it was emotionally damaging to her because she'd worked hard on her self-esteem.
Well, yeah, but that photo was a before and after photo. She posted the after, of course, on her social media, and one of her assistants posted the before, and the before is not as flattering. And I think it's just a perfect example of the fakeness that goes into a lot of these photo shoots. And we did it with Chris Wiley and Dominique in this film.
Yeah, and Chris, that's the thing. The producer staged that photo shoot with you where you were in a fake private jet. They rented it for $50 an hour, and you said you'd rather be broke and be real than be rich and be fake. That's a powerful line, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really feel right faking a lot of things, but by that time, the production, they already knew how to trigger me. So they knew if they put me in a private jet, then, I would obviously have something to say. It
didn't feel right to you because you're also an artist, a designer. And I imagine part of what you do, you feel that it's about authenticity. And Dominique, you became the most famous. I mean, I couldn't believe you ended up with 350,000 followers. You had about 1,000 before it happened. Some of those followers were from the bots. When you look at from what you learned in this social experiment, and then when you're scrolling down your Instagram or TikTok, do you see the world different, that social media world, now that you've done this experiment?
Yeah, absolutely. This experiment just taught me so much, especially that everything we see online isn't true. And I took on this as an acting role. I wanted to commit to the job. And
well, you took it on as an acting role. You said commit to the job. But I mean, listen, I know that Nick talked about the Kardashians, for example, and not to just to bring them out of this, but I've looked at pictures and tried to get the right shot, the right lighting. I'll throw in a filter if I think it, illuminates my skin just right. So, and I think I'm as authentic and as real as Chris thinks he is. But we all tweak things. So what do you think is the line?
I think, the fake private jets with a toilet seat is so fake, just to prove that or make it seem that you're living a certain lifestyle is to me where I would, say, hey, that's really fake and just so inauthentic. What I learned from it, and I hope that other people learned watching it, is to just bring a little bit more transparency into their social media. Bragging about a certain lifestyle honestly just puts other people down rather than trying to lift people up, which I think could be the most powerful thing out of social media.
That's a great point you make. Listen, I have a teenage niece in my life that I've said, listen, that's an Insta life. Don't get caught in that because what you see is not real, and it's a tough lesson to digest. Wiley, for you, the other tough lesson became the trolls, people popping into your profile. Once you started to become famous, people think, oh, you're going to have all this love, but it brings a lot of other negativity, and you experienced that.
Of course, and congratulations on your 300th episode.
Very
but
sweet.
I was going to say, haters are going to hate, and when you put yourself out there like we did, you're going to open up the world to more haters. And there's not much you can do about the trolls except for not read their messages. I think for me, like Dom, it was also a big learning experience, and I sort of, it sounds lame, but was working on a bit more self-love. And I think that's sort of the answer to the trolls. And I'm not 100% cured of that, but working on it.
Yeah. Well, we're all a work in progress. Nick, before I let you go, because it is a social or a scientific experiment, I have to tell you, I thought a lot about your documentary and how the real world, when it started so many years ago, was this experiment of how you behave if you're in the house with a bunch of people. Some people are motivated for money, as we said. Others are just for love and like here. What was the thing that most surprised you about our social media addiction, especially in the presentation of this influencer world that we live in?
The thing that I think was most surprising is the thing I talk about in the beginning of the film, where there was a study that was recently done with American teens, where they were asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's a longitudinal study that's been done for 30, 40 years. And 30 years ago, they said lawyer, and then it was astronaut, and then musician. And today, 87% of kids in America say they want to be a famous influencer. And that was a shocking number to me, and really kind of that was what set this experiment off, wanting to understand, you know, how that number came about, why people want that, and if this thing that they want, if it's real. And what we discovered is most of the time it's not.